Hey everyone, this is John with Lead Capture IO, and today I'm going to be covering the Google Address Autocomplete feature and how to set it up inside of your lead capture forms that you're building within the Lead Capture IO platform. Now, the Google Address Autocomplete feature is an amazing, low friction way to capture your prospects' addresses without requiring them to type the whole thing in. This not only helps you boost conversions, but it also ensures data consistency and data quality, which is extremely important when you're passing leads off to your sales team, your clients, lead buyers, and even to yourself. So now I'm going to show you how the feature works, how to set it up, and how to get your API key from Google Maps. So first, let's talk about real high level, just how it works. As someone comes to your lead form and begins to enter in their address, it will auto-populate, leveraging the extremely reliable data from the Google Maps API. So all you need to do from your side is get your API key, and I'll show you how to do that towards the end of the video, and implement it into lead capture and set up a field. It only takes a few clicks. So let's walk through that now. I'll show you how I have this set up from a real high level, and then I'll actually dive into setting this up and getting the API key. So the very first step that you need to take after you get your API key is to go into your lead capture form and go to settings. And then you'll find this setting down here that says Google Address Autocomplete. Simply expand this, and then this is where you're going to enter your API key. Once your API key is entered and you click save, you can then create your address autocomplete field. Now within lead capture, you can do this within any type of form step. For example, you could add it to your contact form. In this case, I have a separate address step. So if we just look at this address step and how this is set up, I have a bunch of hidden fields, but this main field here is the core address autocomplete that is basically capturing the address, then parsing it into a bunch of hidden fields that then gets passed into my CRM. So if we just look at this field, it's right here. It says enter your address. And if we edit it and scroll down to field type, you'll see that there's this field type called address autocomplete. So when you select this field type, you then have the option to choose which fields you would like to collect. So you can collect street, state, city, country, and zip code. In this case, I'm collecting everything except for country. And then what happens here is when you unselect one of the options, it goes away and it comes back. You can set custom labels, and then you can even turn these into hidden fields. I'll show you how to do that in a moment. So what's happening here is once someone enters in the address, behind the scenes, the system is parsing each piece of this address into these fields. These fields have their own custom field names, and then that information gets sent to the CRM. One other additional note is in some cases, you may need to restrict your address autocomplete data to your specific region. And in this case, you can restrict by country. You do not need to do this, but for this example, I have it restricted to my location where I'm generating leads, which is just the United States. So you simply click save, and that's all there is to it. It's just a matter of getting your API key and adding it to the settings area, then creating your address autocomplete field, and then basically setting the different fields that you want to capture, that you want the data to parse into. So now what I'm going to do is I'll show you how to set this up from start to finish, and then I'm going to show you how to get your API key. So I'm inside of a new form here, and you'll see that I do not currently have an address step or field set up. So what I'm going to do is I'll add a whole new address step, then I'll set up the Google Address Autocomplete field. So I'll go to add step, and then we'll go to form. And I'm just going to call this address field. And then for the form title, I'll just say enter your address. And you can add a subtitle if you want. And then I'll just say next. And then I'll choose this target step of, let's just make this contact form. So this field is going to go to the contact form. And you'll notice a bunch of placeholder fields. These will go away once we create the address field. I'll click save step. And now you'll see we have our address field here. So now what I need to do is I need to go into the settings area and add the Google Maps API key. And again, I'll show you how to get that at the end of the video. So we'll go to settings and then go to Google Address Autocomplete. The position of this may change based on when you watch this. And I'll just enter in my API key. And then I'll click save. Now entering in the API key enables me to now create the address autocomplete field. So I'll jump back to the address step, and now I'm going to add a form field. So within the address step, I'll go to the left-hand panel and I'll click Add Form Field. And now I'm going to just go right down to field type and choose Google Address Autocomplete. And upon choosing that, a number of options appear. And I'll walk through this in a second. Let's just give this field a name and label. So I'll just call this address and I'll give the label. I'll just say enter your address. Again, before I click save, I now need to choose what fields I would like to collect. So for this case, I'll choose state and or street. And as I choose each one, just watch as each field appears below dynamically. State, city, and we'll go with zip. And then there's the restrict by country option that I just walked through. I'm just going to ignore this because I'm not too worried about restricting by country. I'll click Save Form Field, and now the form field has been saved. So what you'll see here when you save is that each of those options that has been selected is appearing within your form. And if we were to begin to enter in an address, you'll see that all of the details are parsing into each of the fields automatically. Now, this is great, but to help improve conversion, what I want to do is hide each of these fields. So the data still parses, but the fields are hidden so that way we don't overwhelm the prospect with all of these extra fields and all of this extra detail. So now I'm going to go into each of these fields and set them as hidden. So first we'll go into postal code. You'll see that at the bottom. And then you'll find an option that says field type and just choose hidden field and click Save Form Field. And now you'll see that in the center UI where it updates in real time, the zip code is now gone, but it's still right here. So we can jump back into this field type and make changes. For example, let's say you're posting to something like Leadspedia or LeadByte or to a webhook and you need the field to have a specific field ID. You can go into like the LeadByte setting and choose a field name of, let's say zip code like that, depending on what's required on that side. Click Save. And this will ensure that you can still pass that individual field into your CRM. Now I'm going to go through the process for each of these. So city, we're just going to click on that and set the field type to hidden field and click Save Form Field. And now that is a hidden field. We'll do the same for state. Click on it, go to field type, and then we'll choose hidden field. And then for street, we will do the exact same thing, and we're going to set this to a hidden field. And now just like that, we have it set up. So all the prospect needs to do is to start entering their address, and then every component of the address will automatically be parsed into the different fields behind the scenes. Then, like I said, you could pass them into your CRM as individual fields. So now that we covered how to set all of this up, let me finish by showing you how to get your API. So I actually have step-by-step documentation showing you all of the steps you need to go through within the Google Cloud Platform to capture your Google Address Autocomplete API. And I'll just quickly take some time within this video to walk you through the steps and provide some additional context. But I highly recommend reading through the documentation. Now, to get started with this and to get your API key, you're going to need to use the Google Cloud Platform. And you can get there by going to cloud.google.com. Now, if you do not already have an account set up, then you're going to need to follow these steps where you get all set up. I walk through pricing. I'm pretty sure they have a pretty generous free plan, and you'll just need to walk through these steps and get set up. Once you get set up, you can then jump into the console section, and it should look something like this. And this is where you're going to access your APIs. So again, you're all set up at this point. That next, you're going to dashboard. And then what you need to do here is create a project. And I'm assuming you do not already have a project. Create it. Just give your project a name. It could be like something descriptive, like lead capture form, Google address, and then give your organization a name. It should just be the name of your company. Then go to API and services. And then from there, you're going to click on this blue button. I'll zoom in a bit. It says enable APIs and services. So click there, and then that will take you to a page that looks like this. So at this point, you should be looking at the Welcome to the API Library page, and you're going to see a bunch of different options. What you're going to need to do is click on the Maps JavaScript API right here. You can also search for it. If you search for Maps JavaScript API, then it will bring up a list, and there it is, Maps JavaScript API. Now, at this point, when you click on Maps JavaScript API, it will take you to this page, and just click Enable. Once it's enabled, it will then direct you to a page that looks like this. And what you're going to see here is enabled APIs and then additional APIs. You're also going to need to enable down here Places API. So click on Places API, and then it will take you to a Places API page, which is very similar looking to the Maps JavaScript API. Click Enable, and then you're going to see a page that looks like this. This is actually the same page as this one, except the difference is it's showing you the two APIs that are enabled, Maps JavaScript API and Places API. Now what you need to do is click on Credentials, Create Credentials, click on, and then this will bring you to a drop down that says API key. Click on API key. And now this will open up a pop-up to copy your API key. And this is the API key that you're going to copy and use inside of your lead capture form and lead capture IO. So for example, I would just copy this API key, and then I would jump back into lead capture IO and then go through the settings of adding the address autocomplete API key here, and then follow the settings that I showed you in the beginning of the video. Once you get it, it's smooth sailing from there. And if you run into any problems or have issues with this or can't find it for some reason, reach out to me. I'm always happy to help. Thank you.